Hey there, NAC Warrior. So, today we're going to talk about, does it really matter where you are today? And I'm going to go in deep today because I've been doing a lot of thinking and I wanted to sort of share that thinking with you. So, I don't know where this is going to go, but what I really wanted to do was kind of share with you what my thoughts are at this point because they're starting to change my thoughts of some certain topics, and understanding where you are right now was a topic that I started wrestling with and wanted to sort of share with you. So I'm not really sure where this is going to go, and I know this may not be what people like to see. They want to see things polished and really nice and everything. Sharing exactly my thought process, what I'm going through, and maybe this will help you in being open with your thoughts and maybe trigger some questions. And my hope is that we get this sort of like conversation going with each other, because I don't have all the answers. And as I talk to different people with different perspectives and go really on this journey of uh, creating a business and doing health and fitness and sharing with people and getting things out of my head and digesting things and going sort of public with this, it's been really a mind puzzle that pieces are starting to come together, other pieces are starting to disappear. So I just wanted to share that with you, sort of like where I am today, I guess, on some of the topics. So if you are new here, please make sure to follow me, especially if you're on especially if you're on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you're on the podcast, please rate this and give it. I hope you give me a 5, and follow me on that. And of course, if there's anything you want me to talk about in future episodes, please let me know, because that will help me in order to keep continuing to produce content that I believe will help you on your journey. So what I try to do here is try to incorporate a little bit of my health and fitness journey with business. And so trying to use the two to kind of relate with each other, because I've been a little bit more successful, well, a lot more successful on my health and fitness journey, and trying to take those same fundamentals and principles and use them with my growing a business and everything. So we'll see how that goes. But so please play, answer some questions that I may come up with as I'm talking, and come up with your own to challenge me, because this is, I'm not here to, again, say this is the end all be all. I change my mind, I learn new things and get different perspectives. So I have no sponsors today, but if you would love to, I would love to have you join our Facebook group. You can find the link in the descriptions, and please jump on there and have some conversations and talk to other NEC warriors. It's a place where we can share, and it's growing. It's a little small right now, but eventually my goal is to have that grow. Actually, I should mention real quick before we jump right into it, is if you are on TikTok or enjoy TikTok, feel free to jump over there. I'm doing something completely different over there. I'm doing these exercises that are real short, and I do an exercise a day if that's something you're interested in. And it's really just helps you like insert, like it's 1 minute long, and anywhere from 10 seconds to 1 minute long. And it's just an exercise just to get in, so that each day we're doing at least something. So if that interests you, you can find me under Angelo_Santitto is the TikTok profile name. Okay, with that, let's just jump right into it.
Welcome to the NAC Warrior Show.
What's really interesting to me is when I put together the NAC Warrior roadmaps, one of the things I really thought about was, okay, we really need to know where we are, because how can we drive from, especially when like you use a GPS system, the first thing it needs to know is like where you are and how to get somewhere, right? And then the GPS tells us where to go. So that's how I thought of life, that's how I saw life. Like, I want to know where I am, where I want to go, and tell me the fastest direct route to get there. And I thought the same thing for my health and fitness, and I think about the same thing for building a business. And I'm thinking to myself, is that really the right thing to focus on? And I think we have to focus there. I'm not saying that we ignore it completely, but I'm wondering, how much time do we really spend on understanding where we are right now? Or do we spend more time on moving in the right direction? So, I think it all depends. That's where I came up with. Like, if I'm driving and I have all the time in the world and I just want to see what the world has to offer me, then, and I'm seeking adventure, then yeah, I know, let's say I'm here in New England and I want to go somewhere warm. I'm going to head down south. It doesn't really matter. I'm not looking for specific results. I'm looking more for an experience, and going that way, then I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I just want to head that way. I don't need a GPS system to tell me to get from here to here. And then a part of me said, but if I wanted to end up in a spot at a specific time and make sure I get the most direct route because I want to save on gas, I want to be there as quickly as possible, and da 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 da, like I want to be there at the exact spot that I want to be, then I do want to know precisely where I am right today. And so I started thinking about that, like, how does that relate to my journey? And my journey has always been like point A to point B, direct. Let's get there as directly, as quickly as possible. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older that mindset is kind of like changing and saying, let's see what experiences we have now. I'm not so much, I still want to accomplish goals. Don't get me wrong. Like, I still want to hit that target, but I almost want to experience life to get there. And I kind of teeter between both. It's almost like I want the GPS system to tell me where to go and then glitch out on me, and then I kind of have to figure out where I'm going to go from there, and then it will pop back in as sort of like a, hey, let's get back on track. And I started thinking to myself, can we actually do that? Or should we actually do that? I guess if you, like, for emergencies or things like you need, people are dependent on you and all that stuff, like you need to get to A to B real quick. Like, if you're starting a business and you have payroll, you need to get the results in order to meet, so people don't end up losing their jobs and everything. And health and fitness, if you have a health issue, going from A to B is really important because you want to lose that weight or get healthy and fit as quickly as possible. But if there's no emergency, if there's no rush, which is where I think we need to get to, I think we need a little bit of both, right? We need to know exactly where we want to be, and it helps to kind of understand where you are. Like, if I'm already south and I start heading south, eventually I'm going to hit back north, right? If I'm already south and I'm looking for warmer weather and I keep going around the world, unless you're one of these flat earth thinkers, and more power to you, but eventually you end up back north, right? Somehow. So you kind of need to know where you are, but you need to know precisely where you are. I think if you're trying to get results right away, but if you can, I think that's the wrong way to go, unless something's on the line. And so I just been thinking about that a lot. Like, when I got rid of, like, I need to lose weight and I need to lose weight quickly. I've talked about this before. When I focus more on what are the things that I want to do and more about the things that I enjoy doing, things started happening a lot faster, and I started learning more about me, which in the long run made me more effective than as if I just jumped right into it. So I just started thinking about that. Like, in the NAC Warrior Roadmap, we talk about understanding where we are. And it's really easy to understand where you are when it comes to, say, like, physically, right? Like, I know if I'm this amount of weight and my goal is here, that's like easy to determine. But what's really not easy to determine is whether the actions you're doing necessarily are heading you in the right direction, or if you know, I guess that's the thing. Like, are we heading in that direction, and what should we change, and what's our mentality about what are we thinking about? Like all those things, I'm like thinking to myself, wow, like all that's important, but at the same time, don't I just need to be heading in that right direction? And I'm in no like real rush, so should I take my time and experience it? And I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to sort of like have a little bit of both and how to balance that. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm trying to think of like, what's that impact do on the NAC Warrior roadmap? Because we've already talked about where we want to be in the future, our future NAC Warrior. We talked about what things we need to be doing for habits. We also talked about the why. And now, when I focus on where I am today, I know where I am today, but what I really need to focus in on, which is really harder to figure out, is where am I mentally and how do I get to where I want to be? And do I want it to be a point A to point B? And I think part of it has to do with your um, sort of like your approach to life, right? Like if you are like, just get me here to here, I get that. You want that, you need to know accurately right where you are in order to make sure you're making the right steps to head in the right direction, right? But if you're another person who likes adventure and likes to try different things and just explore what life has to give you, you just need to generally know where you are. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to figure out how to combine them both. And I think that's really where the power is like, yeah, I need to understand here, but let's see what happens if I try this and let myself be able to fail. And that's the other thing. It's a lot harder to allow yourself to fail if you have like an A to B type of mindset, because you have to be able to adapt and change quickly and understand. And when I was going back to thinking about, oh, sorry, let me complete that thought. You need to understand, like, what do I need to change in order to start getting back on track? And I started thinking to myself, I think it was 2 episodes before, I was talking about like how when do you change? Like, when do you change strategy? How do you know when to change tactics? And I think part of that is just understanding what type of approach you have. Are you having a direct A to B? Then it probably needs to be a lot quicker. If you're having this like mentality of like, I want to enjoy the journey and just see if I get to where I want to be and see what happens, then you can be a lot less um, rigid and just explore that type of whatever life has to give you, and you can change when you feel like it, right? So it's kind of interesting because I'm now thinking to myself, as far as the NAC Warrior roadmaps go, when I'm thinking about redesigning it, I need to understand the mindset of the individual coming in, or their goals. Are they trying to get from A to B? Are they and get there as quickly as possible? Then they need to spend more time on understanding where they are now so that they have an accurate picture. Because if you don't understand that and you're trying to get to point B as quickly as possible, but you miscalculated where you are, then it's going to take you longer to get there. Or are you an individual who's looking for a journey? Then it doesn't really matter where you are now. You want to look at where you're going and just kind of understand where it is and just kind of travel and let life teach you the lessons that it needs to teach you. Or are you in a place where you can do both, right? Let's formulate a path from here to there. Let's start taking those actions. But if life reroutes me this way, then I'm going to listen to life and kind of go see where that takes me. It's sort of like you know, which way books, right? Which way books? Are you going to choose the which way book, or are you going to figure out where the end is and kind of work your way backwards and figure out where the start of the book is? So I don't know, back in the 80s, 90s, I forget when they made those, but there was these books called which way books or choose your journey. And there was many different, like, you read a page and then you had to decide for the character what it was going to do. Or you're going to go, and if you chose one way, you're going to go to page 200. But if you went this way, then you're going to choose page 21. And so, and then you kept doing that. And in the end, you either ended up, your character got destroyed or something happened to it, or got to the end of the book. Now, if you were just having fun, I remember just kind of just having fun with it. But at the very beginning, I always wanted to get to the end of the book. Like I wanted to get to the finish. So what I would do is find the last page where the end, like the success end was, and I'd figure out all the pages that I needed to get from where I was, and then I'd read the journey to get through there. Then after I was done, I would read the book and just choose my own journey and say, if this was me, where would I really go? And sometimes they rerouted themselves back to the win or to the a successful ending. But yeah, I just kind of picture things like that now, is like when we go out there, which way are we going? And I started thinking, okay, so for my health and fitness now, I'm at the point where I'm just on this journey. Like I'm just exploring, having fun. I don't really care so much, except for that I want to make sure at the end of the day, when I'm 120, 104, that I have these results. How I get there, how long it takes me to get there, I guess doesn't really matter to me right now. Before, at the very beginning of my journey, I wanted to get from A to B really quickly, and I found out that that didn't really work for me. Now I'm wondering, what does that mean from a business perspective, right? As I try to grow a business, I don't have employees. I don't need to make any money in the business because I have my full-time job. So do I need to really like focus from A to B? And I think the answer is I sort of need to do my tactic of the which way book, right? Which is find out where I want to be, get here, and have that A to B thing. But I also need to let go and enjoy the journey. And I'm feeling this is the way I need to go. Sort of like go down it, understand the tactics, and go on the path that I think is right. And then as the world sort of throws a barrier on the path that I thought was the direct route, experience that barrier and then explore the different ways I'm going to approach that barrier and have fun with it, and not think so much of like, let's break straight through that, like that barrier, but what are the different ways I can tackle that barrier, right? And I feel like that's the proper answer. And that's why I'm like, I could sit here and create a video that's like so like pristine, like, okay, part 1, talk about the hook. Part 2, drop in like the sponsorship. Part 3, talk about the story. Part 4, like have all the stories written out and all this stuff, and like have it so I'm in front of the camera and I'm like, okay, blah 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 blah, right? And I'm like, I can do that and I will do that, but right now I'm at the part where I'm like, let's just have some fun. Let's enjoy this thought process. And I just wanted to share that with you. And hopefully, this gets you stimulating on some of the thoughts that you have, because I feel like at the very, very beginning of every journey, everybody just wants A to B. And it's really the mindset changes we need to go through in order to actually get to B. Because if we start taking those steps, eventually we're going to have to deal with the thing between our head. And that's what I've figured out and discovered, is that it really starts here, and allowing the lessons to come in. And we if I'm honest with myself, I don't want lessons, right? I just want to go from A to B, be successful, whatever that looks like, and just be there, right? But then I know that once I get there, I'm going to want to jump to the next rung of success. And so I'm thinking to myself, the only way, and this is how I came up to this conclusion, and I'll end it here. When I look back and say, if I could go back in time and give myself advice, or give somebody advice at how to get themselves to where I'm at on health and fitness from where they are, I would say that the majority of the things that you need to work on is your mentality, because you are where you are because of the decisions you made. And if you listen to Tony Robbins, it's the decisions that you're making that determine your outcome, right? Your destination, your destiny. So, and if you go deep with Tony Robbins and into his programs, he really talks about what makes those decisions, and all of it comes down to the psychology. And so in order to really make a difference in somebody, and I know this in health and fitness, I really have to work on their psychology, but their psychology isn't necessarily an A to B thing. Their psychology may be a journey that they need to go through in order to get those aha moments. And I'm thinking to myself, that's sort of how I need to approach business. And the next chapter of my health and fitness journey is really just allowing life to sort of, like, I put out there and try to attract what it is that I want to attract. But as life delivers things to me, I need to listen to those signals and really move in that direction and explore, why is this? Not keep my eye, like, I got to keep my eye on the prize, but at the same time enjoy the journey and stick to all the things that I planned on doing. And I think going with your gut and the signals that the world is sending is really what I came down to on reflection, change, and direction, right? And making those decisions. So that's what I have today. So I hope this episode helped you in some way, shape, or form. I really enjoy doing these live sessions because it really helps me, like, clear out what's in my head, and to have something stuck in your head so long and then to finally talk about it or write it down makes a big difference, because then you realize, okay, that actually doesn't sound right, or oh, I should go here, or I'm kind of stuck here. So I'm going to actually go back through this, and what I like to do is kind of rewatch the videos that I do, and the points where I get lost and stuck, I know there was a thought process there that I need to look at, because there was something that came through my mind that, like, rushed by and I wanted to catch it. And so I like to review some of these videos that I do. So anyways, again, if you would like to hear something in a future episode, or maybe you have something you'd like to add or sort of discuss with me of this episode, please make sure to write that in the comments. If you believe this episode will help somebody, please share it. This only helps me. The more you share, the more you interact with these videos, the more I will be able to produce content that you enjoy. Maybe you don't like my thought process. Maybe you don't want to hear that. Maybe you want to hear specifically how to get to A to B. So you want to know, what's the quickest way to lose weight, right? If I had only 5 days to lose weight, what would I do in the next 5 or 7 days? If that's something that interests you, please let me know, and I'll start producing videos like that. But other than that, I'm just going to keep going along with my journey of thought here. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, tomorrow I'm probably going to be talking about the seasons of life, and why that's important. Or why I think maybe between now and tomorrow, when I jump on here, I'll have a different mindset based on who I talk to or whatever. But tomorrow my plan is to talk about the seasons of life and how that impacts what you're doing, and why we need to take that into consideration. So just remember, you are beautiful right the way you are today. If not, you don't feel that way, you need to start jumping into our Facebook group and really let me help you with that mindset, because that's the first thing you need to do when it comes to health and fitness, and just feel beautiful about yourself. And just go out there and really start looking. If I could say anything, like, start doing these things. Feel beautiful in your own body, regardless of what you think you are. That's something you need to work on. Work on the energy that you have, the control and the confidence that you have in this world of health and fitness. And if you can do that, then you will start unleashing your inner warrior. Okay? All right. Have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.